What's up guys, Groovy Guitar Dude here with a beginner guitar tutorial for Let Me Down Slowly by Alec, Benjamin, and Alessia Cara. If this video helps you out, hit that like and subscribe button and let me know in the comments down below what are the songs by either of these two awesome artists that you want to learn on guitar. Guys, the first thing you need to know to play Let Me Down Slowly is that in order to get rid of some bar chords and keep this as beginner friendly as possible, we're going to capo up to 4th fret. And if you don't have a capo, I'll have a link to get this capo for free right up here. The next thing we usually go over is the structure of this song, but we're actually going to be playing the same thing throughout the entire song, so we don't need to worry about the structure. From there, you'll want to know the 4 chords that we need to play this song. The first one is A minor. The next one is G. The next one is E minor. And the last one is F. And I'll have a beginner way to play that F chord in the pinned comment below, as well as chord charts for all the other chords for those of you who need them. And the last thing before we dive into Let Me Down Slowly is that this video is done in collaboration with Faith Guitars. If you've never heard of Faith Guitars before, they're an awesome guitar company that makes incredibly high quality guitars for a very reasonable price. For a limited time, they're offering 15% off to anyone who lives in North America and uses the code GROOVY at checkout. So if you're looking for a new guitar for you or a loved one, be sure to check out Faith Guitars, link in the description, and use the code GROOVY at checkout for 15% off your new guitar. With all that in mind, guys, let's dive into Let Me Down Slowly. So Let Me Down Slowly is a surprisingly beginner-friendly song to play on guitar. So we have one chord progression that's going to repeat throughout the entire song. That chord progression is going to be A minor, G, E minor, and F. And then we're basically just going to have one picking pattern, one finger picking pattern that's going to be played through the whole entire song. And then we're going to have one strum pattern that is kind of played on top of that. So this is done with 2 guitars. So we have the main part, that's that finger picking part, which just repeats the entire song. And then not too long after that starts, we also have a very simple little strum pattern that's played kind of in the background on top of that finger picking pattern. So the focus of this is going to be on the finger picking thing, but I'll show you at the very end that little super simple strum pattern that will be used with the same chords that's played over the finger picking throughout the entire song. So let's take a look at that finger picking situation. This is actually a lot easier than it sounds. The song sounds like it would be pretty challenging. Like even when I first heard it, I was like, oh man, this is going to be tricky, but it actually is surprisingly easy to play. It's actually a really good one for beginners to work on, because once you get this one kind of picking pattern down that we have for each chord, right? So each chord gets its own little picking pattern. Once you get that down, it just repeats the entire song. So it might be a little tricky initially to get, but once you practice it and get familiar with it, you can just kind of repeat it through the whole entire song, which is awesome. So with all that in mind, guys, let's break it down chord by chord what our pattern is going to be. So again, same chord progression through the whole song. We're going to have A minor, G, E minor, and F. So let's take a look at the A minor first. So what we're going to do for our A minor, we're going to pick A and B at the same time, and then we're going to pick G, and then we're going to go B, high E, B pretty quickly. So once through that, kind of slowly, will look like this. And then a little closer to full speed, about like that, right? So that's our A minor chord. Don't worry, we're going to walk through this all very slowly before we play at full speed in just a minute all together. So next chord is going to be our G chord. What we're going to have there is we're going to play low E and B at the same time. And then we're going to go G, B, G. And then we're going to go to our E minor. And then this one this is like probably the only little bit tricky part, but it's still pretty easy, all right? So we're going to go low E and B at the same time. G, and then we're going to go here onto the B, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a open hammer on the first on the B, and then we're going to do a third on B. That's it for the E minor, and then we're going to go to our F, and that's going to be low E and B at the same time, and then we're going to do G, B, G. And that's it, guys. That is the whole picking pattern, and that just repeats through the entire song. It's a lot easier than it sounds like it is. I was surprised at how easy it is. And again, I keep saying it's easy, and so for the beginners out there, it might not be that easy. But what I mean is that is really it. In a lot of songs that are finger picking, it will have a lot of variation. But this song, really, it's just that played through the whole song. So again, this part might be a little bit tricky for the very beginners out there, but what's easy about this song and what makes it kind of an easy song is the repetition, because that's really all that you need to know. There's nothing else fancy. There's no other picking parts that you need to know for this song. That's the whole thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through each side really slowly, where you can see exactly what I'm doing on this side, exactly what I'm doing on this side, and then all together, and then we'll walk through it a couple of times full speed so you can match it up with the speed of the song. Slowly a couple of times should look about like this. And guys, full speed a couple of times through the picking pattern that will play all the way through Let Me Down Slowly should look about like this. And guys, the only other thing that you need to know for Let Me Down Slowly is the other guitar parts, right? This song is pretty much two guitar parts. One, the main one, is that picking part, and the other one is this little subtle palm muted down strum thing that you hear played kind of on top of that for the rest of the song. So that is the same exact chord progression, A minor, G, E minor, and F, and all we're gonna do is just 8 soft palm muted down strums for each chord. If you don't know what palm muting is, you just kind of get this part of your hand right here and you kind of rest it softly on the strings back here close to your bridge and you just play. So you go, and it just gives you kind of a muted, kind of percussive sound, and it sounds cool, and that's exactly what's being played in the song. So a couple times all the way through that palm muted down strum through our chord progression that repeats through the entire song should look about like this. And guys, that is everything that you need to know to play Let Me Down Slowly on guitar. As always, if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments down below. I'm usually pretty quick getting back to those. And again, if this video helped you out, hit that subscribe button. I have about 625 other guitar and ukulele lessons on this channel, and I usually try to post at least 3 to 5 new lessons every single week. So if you're learning guitar or ukulele, there could not be a more perfect channel for you to check out. If you want to see what songs I'm jamming on today or pictures of my dog, you can hit up my Instagram story @thegroovyguitardude. Link for that will be in the description below. Guys, I've been getting a lot of requests, particularly from Alec Benjamin and also some Alessia Cara as well. So when this song came out, I was like, this is just like the perfect song. I have to teach it. And not to mention, it is an awesome song to play on guitar. It's actually, whenever I first heard it, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be tricky. This is gonna be a little bit of a tricky song to play. But what's awesome about this is that it's really that same chord progression the whole entire way through the song. And then we just have a few little variation things that we do as far as picking and strumming. So that picking part is obviously the main part. It's probably what most of you are wanting to learn. And that sounds a lot harder than it actually is. It's actually a lot easier to play than it sounds like it is, because it's just those 4 chords, and we just have the same picking patterns for each one of those chords that we use throughout literally the whole entire song. So it might take a minute to get them down the first kind of like the first time you play it, right? So you might have to practice them a couple of times, but then once you have it down, it just repeats throughout the song, which is awesome and makes this song pretty beginner friendly, even for most people. Like, this is a really good song actually for people who haven't had a lot of finger picking experience, because again, it sounds harder than it is. It sounds like we have these complicated finger picking progressions, but what's cool is that they don't change. So once you get it down once, and once you get it down full speed, then you can play it literally through the whole entire song with no trouble. So anyways, guys, I really like this song. I really enjoyed learning this song. I hope you guys enjoy learning it as well, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all soon.